All right. So I've had these 3 walnut slabs kicking around my shop for a while. A long while. I bought them from some wood hermit in the hills of PA a few years ago and just never found a good use for them. Until now. So I ripped off all those live edges, headed to the table saw to rip them down to manageable widths. Bellied up to the joiner to flatten one side, square up an edge, then it was through the planer to get them flat. I was shooting for roughly 3 3/4 inch square. Unfortunately, gluing up 2 pieces together came a little short, so I had to sandwich a piece of 3/4 inch material in there, which is not a big deal. So with the glue dried, I took the blanks out of the clamps, flattened and squared them on the joiner and planer. They ended up being 3 13/16 squared. But if I'd used my noggin, I should have shaved them down in 3 3/4 inches because 1/4 inch increments are way easier to work with than stupid 16ths. To lay out the template for the X base, I knew my outer dimensions needed to be 30 inches wide by 18 inches tall. I could then cut that out and then cut 2 strips at 3 13/16 inches wide to represent each part of the X. This is not a normal X at 45 degrees, so if you're thinking, why didn't you just make it 45 degrees? Well, that would have made the base much more narrow and looked, well, a bit odd. Now I could cut out my template, giving me the perfect, template to transfer to my leg blanks. With the template taped down, I could use my bevel gauge to determine the correct angle to cut the dados for the half lap joints. 15.5 degrees. That's convenient. So I transferred that angle to my legs and then carried them around to all 3 sides. I marked the areas to be cut with giant black X's to avoid any miscues. Then I could adjust my miter gauge to 15.5 degrees, clamp the leg securely to ensure no slippage. Now I'm using an 8-inch dado stack with the blade stacked to give me a 3/4 inch width. I make several passes an inch up on the cut until I reach the correct depth. Then I establish my outer shoulder and slowly hogged away the rest of the material. Now, if you do not have a dado stack, like if you live in Europe where they aren't allowed, then you could also make a series of curve cuts with a standard saw blade as shown in the bottom right of your screen, then tidy it up with a chisel and a block plane and will produce equally as good results, if not better as demonstrated here. It looks a little tighter. With my X dry fitted, I could get my top and bottom cuts laid out. I used a straight edge to line up the top and bottom of the template and drew my cut lines. I grabbed the bevel gauge again and found it to be yet another extremely convenient angle of 52.75 degrees. What the f? Luckily, my miter saw can accommodate and get pretty close to that. Unfortunately, the depth wasn't quite enough, so I had to finish with a handsaw. That is so hybrid woodworking, bro. A quick dry fit and then prop it up to make sure it sits flat on the table, and it do. I had a few voids and cracks to fill, so I used some 2-part epoxy. The next day, scraped it all down and sanded everything, being careful not to sand where my half laps overlap, otherwise it would affect the final fit. And there's Jerry crashing the scene for some headbutts. All right, you're on my shot. Beat it. Now these are actually a pretty stress-free glue up. A couple clamps is all I needed to secure the joint. Then I could work on the second one real quick. And then I could set these sub-assemblies off to the side and let them bake overnight. Ooh, I guess they're ready. Now, first order of business was to cut out the middle section of one of the X's. By removing this piece, it gives the X a continuous look when assembled, like they are passing right through one another. Here's a look at how the joinery comes together. If I just cut one X down the middle and attached each piece on either side, you would get this Frankenstein-looking mess. But by removing a slice that is the same thickness and then attaching them, it now appears each X is passing through one another. Capiche? Now what you're seeing here may seem like an overcomplicated method, but I needed a perfectly plumb line perpendicular to the base cuts on the legs. Now here's where it gets a little funky, Cold Medina. The distance between those 2 lines is 4 3/8. When I subtract the width of my leg, which is 3 13/16, that leaves a balance of 9/16. Split that in half and you get 9/32 space on each side of that line I first drew. I used my track saw to make the cut on the first side. That little cutoff block you see under there is used to keep the track flat, otherwise that thing will tip and you'll end up in a ditch. So then I could flip it around and do the same on the other side. It's times like these that a track saw really earns its keep in my opinion. I could then transfer those lines around to the other side so I could complete the cuts all the way through. Flippity, floppity, move it aroundity. And thanks to Tab at Crosscut Vintage Designs for helping me brainstorm how I was going to approach this. There you go. Then I use the jack plane to clean up any inconsistencies between the two cuts. Nice and flat. I will be using loose tenons, aka the Festool domino, to join everything together. Layout is pretty important, so I take my time and transfer all my lines from one piece to another to ensure proper alignment when everything goes together. Then it was time to start plunging. Now, if you don't have a domino, you're screwed. I kid. Now, you could use dowels, or you could make large integral tenons as well, which would be super strong, or some kind of wacky sliding half lap. And if you recall, 9/32 was the spacing on each side of our perpendicular line. So I made a 9/32 sub base to affix to the bottom of the domino that will ride along that little plywood guide plate you see there. I'm being careful as I lay out all my lines here for the domino and make some plunges. Little test fit to make sure it looks good. I'll leave it in and turn that around to the other side. Transfer my marks again. And plunge away. Whoa. Final fit. Get in there. Get. And lo and behold, I had to do the exact same thing to the other side. That fits nicely. Let's transfer it from one flat surface over to this flat surface and do one final test fit. I don't know what those grease stains are, but they're driving me crazy. Before the final glue up, I wanted to square off all those sharp tips at the ends of the legs. These would be very prone to damage and possible painful toe stubbage. I set up a little stop block on my table saw sled and nipped off about 3/16 of an inch. This could also be done with a block plane or a file or sandpaper or karate chop, but I didn't want to risk any tear out or spelching on the end grain, and this produced nice consistent results. A quick sanding at light speed, and it was time to sling some glue. Ho-ho! These dominoes are extra gassy. Yes, I am still in high school. And one more for good luck. Oh, and some more glue over here. It's pretty important. I cut some clamping blocks that would allow me to get some perfectly square pressure across. Ugh. I thought I'd try the dental hygienist route this time, getting rid of that glue squeeze out. I let that glue set up for about an hour, then broke it down so I could get the other side in and get the whole thing glued up at once. And as you can see here, I needed some more glue. Very important. And several upon several whacks with my teeny little dead blow hammer. Then with my clamping blocks, I could squeeze this whole thing together. And later on, I could unsqueeze it. And there you have it. Ready for finish. Oh wait, no it isn't. I needed to fill in that little ugly void at the top and the bottom too, and conveniently I had saved the offcuts from the legs, so the angle was already perfect. I set my bevel gauge from one side, transfer it to the other, and cut a little wedgie. Then I could clean up that cut with the jack plane, grab that all-important glue again. And why did anybody tell me the top of my head looks like the eye of a hurricane? Not important, I suppose. In you go. Now it was time for Rubio. This is Rubio Pure. And my application method of choice is to use an old expired driver's license to spread it around, and then use a white Scotch-Brite pad to work it in. And then I will wipe off all the excess with an old white retired t-shirt. Make sure you get off all the excess. And there you have it. The final step was to install some walnut stops on the underside of the marble top. These will lock everything in all directions but still allow for easy removal of the top. I used CA glue and some painter's tape to affix them. It's not the most permanent method, but I wanted to avoid drilling into the marble. Construction adhesive or silicone would also work. And here is the finished piece with a couple of detailed shots. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you feel so inclined. I super appreciate the support.